Have you ever wondered how much salt you're consuming on a daily basis? Think about what you're having at breakfast. Think about the fast food you're grabbing at lunchtime because you don't have enough time. And think about the supper. Fish cakes, macaroni pie. Are we having that? And how often are we having it? And do you know the amount of salt that is in those products? In addition to that, have you ever considered how much salt you are using in cooking? A lot of times we don't measure salt. We just pour into the pot and thinking, oh, it's just a little bit of salt. But is it really? Now today, we are going to show you how you can make natural seasonings without using all that salt. We are indeed the salt of the earth, but we should not abuse salt. What happens when you do abuse salt? You increase your risk for high blood pressure, renal diseases, heart diseases, and as you may be aware, Barbados is no exception. The numbers are going up. In the Caribbean, the numbers are going up. But there's something we can do, and we need to take that responsibility. Remember, our health is indeed our greatest wealth. Now, the first seasoning that we're going to be preparing is called seasoning number 1. And at home, when you make it yourselves, you can give it a name. First, we're going to use 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. And remember, I said garlic powder and not garlic salt, because garlic salt has more salt than garlic. We're using 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Now, as you notice, most of these are natural seasonings that you can have in your supermarkets and you can plant at home. We all should start backyard gardening. So we have 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Next, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of dried basil. And all of this is put in these bags for convenience. At home, you can just use your tablespoons or your teaspoons and measure. You don't necessarily have to use Ziploc bags. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. And if you are here, I'm sure you'll be smelling the nice exotic scent of these fresh herbs. And remember, in the Garden of Eden, they were all fresh herbs. And lastly, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of dried rosemary. And then you're going to gently mix. After which, you're going to put in a airtight container, which you can find around the house. You don't have to go out and shop for these. You just look in your cupboards and you'll find your containers. I wish you were here to just smell all this delicious natural scent. You close and you toss. And this is one way you can exercise. So here we have season number 1. It's all natural and there's no salt. When are you going to try it? Now, like I said, we all want to be healthier. And a lot of times we think that it's so convenient to buy these seasonings and flavorings in our supermarkets. But are we really reading our labels? Because a lot of times we just rush to the supermarket, we don't have a list, we just grab 1, 2, 3, 4 things, but you're not looking at what you're buying. Are you really getting value for money? No. Let's move on to season number 2. Again, you will be naming these when you make them at home. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of ground oregano. And again, we're focusing on natural seasonings, natural spices, natural herbs. We're using 5 teaspoons of onion powder. We're using 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. And you know, all these seasonings have additional health benefits. So it's not just to flavor your pot. You're getting other natural benefits. And guess what? They're not very expensive either. And we know money is tight these days. So you'll be getting good, healthy, nutritional benefits on a low budget. We just added 2 teaspoons of paprika, and that paprika will give it a very nice color. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. You can get them dried in the supermarket, but you can also buy it and dry them yourselves. And if you have your own backyard garden, you can dry your own thyme that you pick from your garden. And if you want to exercise, gardening is a good way to exercise. And lastly, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of celery salt. But if you have celery seed, you could also use that. And if you notice the amount, it's a 1/4 teaspoon. It's a very small amount. Again, you're going to toss just for a bit. And you can notice the nice rich color. And man, you should be here to smell this. And we're going to just toss to make sure that everything is mixed thoroughly. Airtight container, because you know we don't want these to harden. And you toss. And here you have your 2 delicious, healthy seasonings that are not very expensive, and you can do it at home. Not only that, a lot of times we say, we don't have enough time to spend with our family, we don't have enough time to spend with the children. But here's a good way to have your children make these seasonings for you. And remember, as long as they're in airtight containers, they can last for several months. But we know that you're going to be using them, so you won't have them for several months. A month is good. Again, you can use your own spices, your own favorite spices and herbs. You don't have to necessarily use what I've used today, but you can be creative. Let your children get involved. Let your spouses get involved. Not only in the cooking, but to get involved in making the season that they will be using their cooking. And you'll be happy for it because, for one, you'll be healthier. You'll have more time to spend with your children. And you'll be going back to Eden, because this is what God wants. God wants us to eat naturally and eat healthily. And remember, this is the right arm of the gospel. Thank you. Have you ever opened your refrigerator to this, a piece of spoiled chive, and you think about, my money, my time has been lost, and I have no season for the pot? Did you know that you can preserve your chives for longer periods without the waste by doing one simple thing? And here is that simple thing. You get your chives, and they're fresh in your supermarkets. They're available. They're pretty cost effective. And you know what? If you're really up for it, you can plant your own. You get your chives, you wash, and you chop. After you've chopped, ensure that you have drained it on a towel or absorbent paper, regular paper towel. You put it in a Ziploc bag because you don't want a lot of air to get in. You close and you freeze. Now, if you do not have a lot of freezer space, you flatten it and you save space in your freezer. This is an example of what it would look like after months. If you don't want to cut it and you want to use them long in your soups, your stews, this is how you do. And this is how it's kept for a month. Now remember, we all want to eat healthy and we all want to save money and time. Now, isn't this a great way to do it?